Dr. Jung, there's something I've been wrestling with. Tolle speaks about the ego dying, dissolving, as if it's this beautiful spiritual event. But in your work, you describe these terrifying descents, these psychological breakdowns that nearly destroyed you. Are we talking about the same thing?
Now, you've asked the question that haunts me whenever I read spiritual literature. Yes, we speak of transformation of the old self dying so something new can be born, but the texture, the reality, the sheer terror of what this actually means, here is where I find myself in fierce disagreement with much of what passes for spiritual teaching today. Mr. Tolle describes ego death as stepping into presence, as a gentle dissolution into awareness. I'm speaking of something far more catastrophic.
You call it confrontation with the unconscious.
I call it descent into hell. I call it the complete shattering of everything you thought you were. I call it madness threatening to consume you entirely. When I went through what I now call my confrontation with the unconscious, I genuinely feared I was losing my mind. The ground beneath me dissolved. Reality became fluid, terrifying, uncontrollable. This was not observing thoughts from detached awareness. This was drowning in the unconscious, being torn apart by forces I could neither understand nor control. It was not a spiritual vacation, it was psychological warfare.
But isn't transformation ultimately liberating?
Liberation, perhaps, but not liberation from something, but liberation through something. Not freedom from suffering, but freedom through having suffered and survived it. It is.
But Tolle did describe his awakening as a kind of death.
Indeed. Let us be fair to Mr. Tolle. He describes his transformation beginning with profound depression, with the thought, I cannot live with myself any longer. And in that moment he reports something shifted. The self he couldn't live with dissolved, and what remained was pure presence, pure awareness. He frames this as ego death, the end of identification with the thinking mind, with the psychological self, with the story of me. After this death, he claims, there was no suffering, only peace and presence. The one who suffered was gone. What remained was consciousness without the burden of psychological identity.
It sounds almost pleasant.
Yes, that's precisely my concern. Tolle's description, while acknowledging the depression that preceded it, makes the actual transformation sound like stepping through a doorway into peace. The old self simply dissolved painlessly, completely, permanently. And what followed was not the arduous work of integration, not years of struggling to understand what had happened, not the constant threat of being overwhelmed by unconscious contents. Instead, he describes continuous presence, unshakable peace, permanent enlightenment. This is a beautiful narrative, but it is a narrative, not a lived, ongoing reality for most human beings.
You're skeptical.
I am skeptical of any description of transformation that makes it sound easy, complete, permanent. I'm skeptical of spiritual awakening that claims to bypass the shadow, to dissolve the ego without the grinding work of integration, to achieve enlightenment without passing through psychological hell. Such teachings run the risk of creating spiritual bypass, using transcendent ideals to escape the necessary messy work of psychological development.
Tell me about your breakdown.
After I broke with Freud, I entered a period that lasted years. Not a moment of ego death, but years of barely holding on to sanity. I would be overtaken by visions, by fantasies that seemed more real than reality. I heard voices. I saw figures that I could not dismiss as imagination. I had to develop techniques, active imagination, the building of stone structures with my hands, the meticulous recording of dreams and visions, not because I was pursuing enlightenment, but because I was trying to survive. I was trying to maintain some thread of connection to consensus reality, while the unconscious threatened to devour me entirely.
This sounds nothing like Tolle's experience.
Because it was nothing like Tolle's experience, or at least nothing like his description of it. Mine was not a peaceful dissolution into presence. It was a violent eruption of the unconscious into consciousness. It was not transcendence of the ego, but the ego's near destruction under forces it could not comprehend. And here is the crucial point. This was necessary. Not unfortunate, not a sign that I was doing it wrong, but absolutely necessary for the work that needed to be done. The old structures had to shatter. The persona had to crack. The rational mind's certainty had to be destroyed. Only then could a new foundation be laid, one built not on sand, but on the bedrock of what I had actually experienced, no matter how terrible.
Why necessary?
Because transformation is not about adding spiritual experiences to an unchanged psychological structure. It is about the complete restructuring of the psyche. The old must actually die, not gently dissolve, but die. And death is violent, chaotic, terrifying. The caterpillar doesn't peacefully observe itself becoming a butterfly. It liquefies. Its entire structure breaks down into formless soup. Only then can the butterfly emerge. This is the reality of transformation that spiritual teachings often sanitize. They want the butterfly without the soup. They want rebirth without the grave.
But you survived. You emerged.
Barely, and never completely. I am marked by that descent forever. I carry the scars. I know what it is to stand at the edge of madness and look into the abyss. This knowledge changes you permanently, not into someone who is always at peace and present, but into someone who knows the depths, who has been shattered and reassembled, who carries the darkness as well as the light. The goal is not to become someone who never feels fear or confusion, but to become someone who can contain fear and confusion without disintegrating. That is the real transformation.
Why do you think Tolle's description differs so much from yours?
Perhaps several reasons. Perhaps his experience genuinely was different, though I doubt it. More likely, I think he is describing the aftermath, the resolution, and projecting that backward onto the crisis itself. It is like describing a battle only by the peace treaty, forgetting the blood, the terror, the screams in the night. Or perhaps he is offering people what they want to hear: transformation without terror, awakening without descending into hell.
People want easy transformation.
They want transformation that doesn't destroy them. They want to become new while remaining essentially unchanged. They want enlightenment that doesn't require passing through the valley of the shadow of death. And so spiritual teachings often sanitize the crisis. They describe ego death as gentle dissolution. They promise presence without the descent. They offer awakening without breakdown. It is spiritual consumerism, enlightenment as a product, neatly packaged and guaranteed.
But you're saying this is dishonest.
I'm saying it's dangerous. When someone enters genuine spiritual crisis, when the psyche begins its transformation, when the unconscious erupts, when the ego structure starts to crack, and they have been promised gentle dissolution into presence, they are utterly unprepared for the reality. They think something has gone wrong. They think they're doing it incorrectly. They think they're going crazy when actually the process is going exactly as it must. But no one warned them. No one told them that transformation might look and feel like psychosis, like madness, like the complete dissolution of reality. This lack of honest guidance can lead to real psychological catastrophe, hospitalization, fragmentation, despair.
In Tolle's framework, the ego dies and presence remains. What remains in yours?
This is where our frameworks diverge most profoundly. For Tolle, the ego is essentially false, an illusion to be seen through and dissolved. What remains after ego death is simple presence, pure awareness, consciousness without psychological content. For me, the ego is not illusion, but structure, necessary structure that must be destroyed and rebuilt, not eliminated. What survives my descent was not pure, formless awareness, but a reconstructed ego, wounded and scarred, yet stronger for having been broken and rebuilt. It is like a bone that heals after being broken. It is never quite the same, often thicker at the break, a testament to both the injury and the healing.
The ego transformed, not transcended.
Yes, the ego that emerges from breakdown is fundamentally different from the ego that entered it, more humble, more aware of its limitations, more able to listen to the unconscious, more capable of serving the self rather than claiming sovereignty. But it is still ego, still structure, still necessary for functioning in the world. You need an ego to cook a meal, to write a letter, to love another person. A pure, disembodied awareness cannot do these things. And here's what else survived: the shadow, the complexes, the wounds, the traumas, all still present but now conscious, integrated to the degree possible, in relationship with rather than dominating consciousness. You don't get rid of your history, you make a conscious relationship with it.
No permanent transcendence then.
no permanent transcendence, instead ongoing relationship. Instead of ego death and final enlightenment, I have cycles of death and rebirth, moments of breakdown and breakthrough, continuous negotiation between ego and self, consciousness and unconscious. It is a marriage, not a funeral. I was not enlightened by my descent. I was initiated, I was not freed from my psychology. I was forced to become conscious of it. I was not liberated into permanent presence. I was thrown into lifelong engagement with the psyche's depths. And this engagement is the work, the real spiritual work.
If someone is entering this kind of crisis, what would you tell them?
First, I would tell them, what you are experiencing may be terrifying, but it may also be necessary. You are not going crazy, or if you are, this might be the madness that heals. The breakdown you fear might be the breakthrough you need. Do not pathologize the process too quickly. Hold the tension. Second, I would tell them this will not be quick or easy. You will not wake up tomorrow enlightened and at peace. You may spend years working through what is emerging. This is not failure, this is the work. Find ground where you can, in ritual, in art, in nature, in simple physical tasks. Build a container strong enough to hold the chaos.
And the ego death Tolle describes.
I would say, be skeptical of anyone who promises you can transcend the ego without it first being destroyed and rebuilt. Be wary of teachings that make transformation sound gentle and complete. True transformation is messy, partial, ongoing. You don't transcend the ego, you die and are reborn again and again. Each death leaves you more humble, more aware, more capable. But you are never done. You are never finally enlightened. You are always in process. The goal is not a destination, but a manner of traveling.
This sounds harder than Tolle's path.
It is harder. It is also, I believe, more honest. It is also more human. Tolle offers transcendence of the human condition. I offer full embrace of it, including its darkness, its wounds, its ongoing struggle. To be fully human is to hold the paradox. We are both mortal and eternal, broken and whole, individual and universal. The spiritual path is not about resolving this paradox, but learning to live within it consciously.
So there's no escape from the suffering.
There is transformation of suffering, not escape from it. There is making the unconscious conscious, not transcending the psyche. There is dying and being reborn, not dying once and remaining in enlightened stasis. Tolle offers a beautiful vision, ego death leading to permanent presence and peace. Perhaps for some this is true, but for most I suspect the reality is far messier, far more difficult, far more ongoing than his teaching suggests. My path does not lead to a mountaintop from which you never descend. It leads deeper into the valley, but with better eyes to see in the dark.
You offer the harder path.
I offer the honest path. I offer what I lived through, what nearly destroyed me, what ultimately made me who I am. I offer no promises of permanent enlightenment, no guarantee of final peace, no transcendence of the human condition. I offer instead the possibility of becoming fully human, conscious of your shadows, in relationship with your depths, capable of holding both light and dark, broken and rebuilt, and broken and rebuilt again. It is a path of remembrance, not of amnesia. You remember your wounds, your failures, your madness, and you weave them into the fabric of who you are. This is not the spiritual path most people want, but it may be the one most people actually need. The question is not whether the ego will die. It will die many times. The question is whether you can survive these deaths, learn from them, be transformed by them, and keep living, keep growing, keep becoming more conscious despite everything.
Become who you truly are.
And who you truly are includes everything you have been, everything you are, and everything you are afraid to be.